Peace and blessings, y'all. It's your girl, Elishaba. I was just coming to you today to talk about something that has really been on my mind, especially with this, the Trayvon Martin verdict. Um, I try to keep myself really separate from negativity, or more clearly stated as things that don't serve me or the common good, period. But I'm not ignorant to what's going on around me, so I definitely have to address it when it comes to how do we deal with these negative things. No one wants to be feel like they have to walk down the street and they can't be safe, which is basically the essence of what the case was about. There was a young teenager that was stated to be unarmed and attacked and killed. Now, when the story first came out, I didn't really pay much attention to it. When I say that, it's not because I don't have sympathy for the loss. It's more like I feel like a lot of things are, first of all, I wasn't there to witness what actually happened, and I still hold that stance that I wasn't there to witness what happened. I didn't even watch the case on or the court battle on TV. I can't do it. If I do learn anything about anything of that nature, I have to ask other people. I don't want to watch it and sit there and let it infiltrate my mind with negativity, because I realize that there are better ways to go about change and improve our condition. And I also realize there are a lot of laws in place that keep you from being a victim of negativity and having negative things come to you. And I'm going to talk about that in another video, because it's like a touchy subject, because unless you're willing to receive it and understand it, it's going to come across as offensive. And I understand that. That's why I'm not going to get into it in this video. But it's actually a freeing issue. It's an issue of protection, and it keeps you from having negativity come to you and harm you. And I think I did talk about this in another video, about how your mindset and how your thinking can actually draw negative things to you. And if you change the way you think and what you're thinking about in your vibration, no harm will ever come to you in this plane. It won't come to you as in the form of racial profiling, or you're driving in your car and you're getting pulled over, or any of that stuff that a lot of, and me personally, I don't get into racial things. I believe there's one race, the human race. And when I say that, I realize that there are different levels and people evolving on different levels, but we're still off from a common source. That's kind of a universal truth that just makes sense if you sit down and think about it, instead of getting so wrapped up into the lower nature, the ego, or wrapped up into the flesh and what you see with your eyes. So, like I said, I'm going to deal with that in another video, because it can come across as offensive if you're not ready to understand that you can protect yourself from negative vibrations and things, and you can transcend them and rise above them, and they won't bother you. They'll still exist, because you're never going to get rid of negativity in the sense that the negative and the positive, they're light and the darkness, the positive, the negative, the Satan, the God, they have to exist, or else there'd be no life. There has to be opposites. There has to be polarity in existence, in a sense. But there is a way for you to transcend and rise above that, to where it does not bother you, to where you're essentially creating your own experience, to where you're not having to experience things that you don't want to experience, or that are not serving you or harming you or causing you discomfort, pain, whatever. So I was thinking back yesterday about what I read about a year ago, the Kybalion. I hope I'm saying it right now. Kybalion. And it's a writing, and I do not get wrapped up. That's why I'm really general a lot of the times when I'm speaking about things. I'm here to impart knowledge and wisdom that's going to free people. I don't care what people you are, what color you are, what race, whatever nationality, whatever you identify with. If you have blood pumping through your veins, you have the spirit of life within you, but be you a rock, an animal, a tree, whatever, purple, blue, brown, dark skin, orange skin, yellow skin, whatever you are, I'm here to impart knowledge if you want to hear it. I don't care about the color, and I don't care about your direct lineage here on this earth, because I believe we're all from one common source. And I think if you sit down and really think about that, you'll come to figure that out too. But I don't get wrapped up into your African descent, or you're a Moorish, you're from Moor descent, or you're from Egyptian descent, or you're from Hebrew descent, or you're from Israelite descent. I don't care about none of that. European descent. This knowledge is for everyone. This knowledge is for everyone, because I know that in a past life you could have been any number of these different people that Chinese, Japanese, all these different so-called races and things. You could have been any of them. That's my knowledge. That's what I understand. Whether or not you understand or not, that's another issue. But this knowledge is for everyone. So I don't get wrapped up into who wrote what and where it came from, because I see a lot of people that get wrapped up in whether or not this knowledge came from Africa, or the Greeks stole this, so they did that. What you don't realize is people reincarnate. And if you actually go back to the line and look at the names, you'll see that the names mean similar things, and they also are writing similar knowledge. So it's not a matter of stealing. The knowledge doesn't belong to any one group. The knowledge is universal, as we are universal beings, or multi-dimensional beings. So it doesn't belong to anyone. It doesn't even belong to me. All I'm doing is sharing. So I don't understand why people get wrapped up in that. But for the sake of argument, there's a lot of different authors. They'll say Thoth, Hermes, Tahuti, even kind of Melchizedek. And that to me would represent an archetype or a model. And you have all these different teachings that come from that one model. You have all this level of knowledge. And it said that Jesus, or Yahushua, whichever you call him, he came from that lineage. And I fully believe and I'm fully aware that Jesus was one of the gatekeepers. He's on one of the steps rising up to what we perceive as godness, or godhood, or godship, or however you want to put it, to where God is, or being on that level. Okay, so in that vein, we have the Levite priesthood that had one law and one set of things that they followed, and then Jesus came in and he said this is some different stuff. He said, I know that this old law, this old basically plane of thinking was that, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, but I say to you, love your enemies. Okay, let me kind of break down what that means. The reason why I've come across a lot of people, and some people say, oh, the New Testament is from the Greeks, therefore it is false, therefore it is inferior, therefore any one of the Hebrew or Israelite, faith or whatever shouldn't be following it because it's just wrong. That's not true. We're actually looking at different levels of consciousness and different planes of understanding. So as you climb up the ladder, you're going to have to go through, you're going to have to be subjected to certain laws and rules, and then once you master those, you go to the next level, and the laws and rules kind of change. And that's what the Kybalion kind of shows. It talks about planes and things like that. There's 7 what do you call them, 7 principles, and it's called, one of them is the principle of vibration, one's the principle of polarity, one's the principle of rhythm, the principle of cause and effect, the principle of gender. So when you look at that, these principles are like things. Principle means kind of like primary, first things, so base or basic things. So these are basic rules and basic laws that you can use to change your reality, to evolve your soul, to become a better person, which is what every soul yearns for, whether you are consciously aware that you're yearning for this or not. Everybody wants to be better. Everyone wants to elevate and ascend and rise up in understanding and knowledge. So my posts on Facebook yesterday were generally about the Trayvon Martin and how to affect change. and why Jesus or Yahushua was saying to love your enemies. That is a hard concept for people to rise to, because the physical law that was given to Moses, that's some, first of all, people have a hard time even following that, because first of all, the things are not set up for us to even follow that law. Okay, and the law was supposed to be taken spiritually. There's a lot of books, the Book of Barnabas, a lot of books that are not in the Bible that clearly say that. People, when the Israelites heard that law, many of them, not all of them, many of them took it literally. The whole not eating pork, I'm not saying that eating pork is good necessarily, but it had a higher spiritual concept or spiritual premise to it. It was something that you were supposed to understand spiritually about not eating with swine. If you look up the characteristics of pigs and things like that, you read the book of Barnabas, it explains it perfectly. I won't get into it now because I don't want this to be too long, and I always say that and it gets too long. My bad. But read about what it's saying, not to associate yourself or be that kind of person. I think basically in Barnabas it was saying someone who, you know, when they have everything they need, or they don't really praise or give any thanks for anything, but as soon as they're in need, they're crying out like, oh, help me, help me, help me. That kind of principle, being a swine. Read the book of Barnabas and you kind of see what I'm talking about. It's different principles about how not to be, and what things not to associate, what things not to eat or take into your being and do and be that way. Because what you take in is what's going to kind of come out. Kind of like the whole concept of you are what you eat. You are what you take in. So that was supposed to be the principle. But a lot of people are wrapped up in the physical observation of the law, and they don't understand the spiritual insight or understanding of the law. And they're so stuck on doing all these little rituals, which are fine. There's nothing wrong with rituals and observing things, but you need to understand what they're leading to. And that's what Jesus said. He said, I didn't come to destroy the law or the prophets or any of that stuff. I come to show you the end goal. If you look in the Greek, the word when he said I come to fulfill, please look up that word and understand what it's talking about there. To fill up means to bring into completion, to fill it up all the way up to the top. Okay, so the completion, I'm here to show you the end goal. He didn't even say he was the end goal. He didn't say he was the end goal. That's something to remember. He said he's going to show you the end goal. So now you can see it. So once you have a vision, you know where you're going and you can head towards it. Okay, that's kind of what he was talking about. And a lot of people take that the wrong way. That's not what he meant. And in the Greek, it actually says that end goal, and you got to really fulfill means to fill up, to complete, to show you the end. Okay, so I'm just going to read to you what I wrote on Facebook about this whole thing about, you know, Trayvon. We got people up in arms who are upset, and I understand, rightly you're upset. No one likes to see anyone taken out unjustly, and like I said, I cannot be a judge of what actually happened on that day because I wasn't there, and I hold to that rule. I don't know if Zimmerman was in the right. I don't know if Trayvon did something. I don't know if Trayvon did absolutely nothing and Zimmerman was completely wrong. I do not know. I want to make that very clear. I do not make judgments based off things that I don't know, that I was not there to see. I did not witness. I don't have any proof. And like I said, I did not watch the case. I did not watch the trial. And I don't plan to. If I do learn anything about that, I will be asking someone else and they might enlighten me. But I don't involve myself in things like that because I know that it is taking away my energy that I need to use to create change on a much higher plane, because that's where change comes from the spiritual plane or higher planes, and then it transcends down or trickles down into the physical planes. You're not going to affect any change by doing what most people are proposing to do, and that's kind of why I'm making this video. Going out and boycotting and going out and acknowledging that evil and adding to that negativity is not going to help. It's not going to change. And this is ancient wisdom. This is not my opinion. And this is actually what I was shown before. This is even brought back to my memory about the Kybalion, because really my whole thing when I read it the first time, It was to show me what had already been shown. It was to show me physically what had already been shown to me spiritually about light and darkness, good and evil, and how there is no such thing, and how in reality it's only functional things and dysfunctional things, things that work and things that don't work, things that serve you and things that don't serve you. And depending on who you ask, it might be evil, and someone else might be just perfectly fine. It's all in your perspective. So that's what I got out of the first time. Now this time, when it was brought back to my attention, then it came up as me understanding how to create my own reality and affect change. First, affecting change within myself, so it trickles out, ripples out, and affects my environment and people around me, people I come into contact with in the world. And if everyone did this, the entire world would absolutely change into what you want it to be. So if we want peace, and we want to be able to walk the streets without being attacked unrightfully, if we want to not be racially profiled, or if we want to be treated fairly, men, women, you know, black, white, whomever, then you're going to have to change the way you think and change your vibration. And that's what the Kybalion talks about: the laws, the principles of vibration, the principles of rhythm, the principle of cause and effect. That and mental, that the universe is mental. It's all in your mind. It's all in how you project these things out here. So I don't have the issues. Hold on. Sorry, I don't have the issues with people attacking me and doing different things because I don't dwell on them. That's not a part of my reality. I'm an alchemist. I change things. You can do whatever you want to do. A person can do whatever they want to do to me. I change it. I create what I want to happen, and that's what I'm trying to impress upon other people, so that they can, you know, be free and not be so subjected to other people's negativity and imbalances. And you know, a lot of people want to escape this physical plane, but what you don't understand is this is a school. This physical plane is a school and a training ground, so that you can go to other higher levels and be successful there. If you can't manifest correct things here, and if you can't balance yourself here, and you can't get the results you want here, you're not going to be successful in other planes. Matter of fact, you're not going to get to them. Okay, you have to become a master of the plane that you're on, and then you can ascend up to the next level. It's just like a video game. You don't get to the next level in the video game until you master the level that you're on. So I'm gonna keep saying it. I've been saying it. I'm gonna keep saying it till I'm blue in the face. You will not get a better body. You will not go to heaven. You will not get out of this reality until you master this reality. Believe it or not. So come on, I don't know. A lot of people who I know read a lot of higher knowledge kind of books and things that may be outside of traditional religion, especially in America. Maybe not in other places because they're more spiritual inclined and more open-minded. But here, you know, I know a lot of people that might have read this, and I don't see the application, because the same people who I know have possibly read it. I don't know exactly what everybody's read, but some of these people who I know have read some different things other than just the Bible. And the Bible is a very metaphysical, higher knowledge book, but you got to see it third eye sight. It can't just be read physically and taken literally the way most people do. But so I know a lot of people who transcended, you know, maybe the bounds of religion and things like that. And I'm kind of like, did you really internalize? And even me, I'm still learning to internalize a lot of things and make them work, because this is all about learning and becoming a master, meaning you master it. You can make it work like that. You can just apply these principles and manifest what you want. So I wrote, while loving your enemies works. And the enemy in this case are maybe the government, the judicial system, the police system or whatever, and they are doing things that are unjust. And I'm not in denial about that. And it's clear that there are injustices that occur all the time. But how do we change that? We cannot live in we can't fight with the physical, can't fight a physical fight. Like it says, I think it's Ephesians 6:8. We do not war against flesh and blood. You have to get that concept through your mind. You have to embrace that and understand we are not fighting physical things. We're not fighting things on this lower vibration. In order to fight anything, you have to be stronger than it is. And the physical is not stronger or more powerful than the spiritual. So you have to go up, and then the effect comes down. Okay? So anybody talking about boycotting, you can do that. I mean, that's your choice. But I'm here to show you what Paul kind of versed as the more excellent way. If you read 1 Corinthians chapter 12, the very last verse, he talks about, seek these higher gifts, but I'm going to show you a more excellent way. And then in chapter 13, it talks about love. Love is patient, love is kind, all these different things. Guess what? Love is the more excellent way. There's a lot of things you can do to make change that might last temporarily, but only these things you do from a very balanced place, which is what love is kind of about, in a charity kind of way, just giving and adding to something what is lacked in others. Like if they're in a negative vibration, you're adding a positive vibration, which will neutralize the general vibration of the planet, which might be negative or dysfunctional. If you cannot do that, you don't understand love. You don't understand how powerful that frequency and that vibration is, and how it can actually change things, completely change things. So these principles are in the Bible, and they're matched in the Kybalion. When let me read you this. Okay, I wrote why loving your enemies works. So we've identified who the enemies are and what they are, the dysfunctional things that we don't want. When we want to fight evil, we cannot destroy it by stooping to its level. That's what I just said. You cannot fight fire with fire. That doesn't make any sense. Nature shows you that. If you got fire, you don't pour gasoline on it. If you got fire, you don't. Hold on. Kids trying to get out of bed. They don't tell them what they got on. But you can't fight fire with fire. You fight fire with something opposite or opposed to it. Water, right? It doesn't work. It doesn't work when you try to fight it with the same thing. You have to do something in opposition to it to get to neutralize it, okay, or to negate it. So we can't destroy it by stooping to its level. When the Bible says to expose the unfruitful works of darkness, it does not mean to go around posting videos, creating memes, those little pictures, the words and stuff to put on Facebook and stuff, and writing articles about the evils of this world. This would be adding to the vibration that you do not want. You never focus on what you do not want. You only speak of what you do want. And that principle is talked about in the Bible in Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. It says, finally, brothers and sisters, whatsoever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Okay, so that's the principle of kind of applying the principle of polarity. You're seeing it in the Bible. Paul talked about this. Paul's a Gnostic. Paul had higher knowledge, just so you know. So we don't talk about that. If anything, as soon as they start talking about Trayvon and stuff, you should start talking about what you do want. You should talk about I'm starting kind of a new campaign about be the change. I am the change that I want to see. And instead of, berating people and saying, well, you should stop doing this, you should stop doing that, let's start talking about what we should be doing. And let's start not only talking about, but being about it, actually doing it, and being the change we want to see in the world, like Gandhi said. Very wise, awesome saying. So do not add to the vibration that you do not want. Instead, just be the change you want to see. Instead of protesting about GMO foods, this is just an example I put on Facebook. We have a lot of that going on, which I agree, not good. But guess what? Instead of complaining about it or protesting or going to Monsanto, you're not going to get rid of their corporation. They got a lot of money. They running stuff. So in the physical plane, they're winning. But guess what? You will never defeat them by fighting fire with fire or coming at them with a physical weapon. You must come at them with a spiritual weapon. Change your thoughts and change your vibration. Change what you're doing and they'll be snuffed out. Guess what? If nobody's buying GMO foods from Monsanto or the grocery shelves, guess what happens to the little corporation? It goes bye-bye. It crumbles because how do they thrive? They need money. If no one's spending money on their food, then they go away. They go bye-bye. They poof, gone. Very simple. It's like hitting delete on the computer. Delete. They're gone. Okay? So you start off by growing your own food, and then what do? There's the saying, each one, reach one, teach one. You teach someone else how to grow their own food. You show them the benefits. Now, a lot of people, you can't walk up to and say, hey, it's easy to grow your own food, and it might be a little hard at first actually because you don't know how to grow it maybe, but eventually once you get into it, wow, this is saving me money. I buy these seeds one time, these seedlings, and now I could just keep generating this over and over again. And then once you get into the groove, you're actually saving money, and it actually becomes easier, and the crops grow, and you harvest them, and you're saving all this money. You're not having to buy food from outside people. You become more self-sufficient, and now you have destroyed the enemy, the thing that you don't want. Not by going out saying, hey, down with GMO and all this stuff. That's not going to change anything. Because you have not changed the collective consciousness. You've not changed the minds of everyone else. It can be 20,000 people out there, but there's still all these billions of other people out here who are buying the food, and the entity still lives. The corporation is still up. The corporation is still thriving. So how do you take them down? You have to start. And just like the one pebble in the river or waterbed, that ripples out, that effect ripples out, and you start affecting everyone else. That's how you're going to change things, not by protesting them. That's not going to stop them. They're still sitting up in their little corporate offices doing what they do. They don't care about what you're doing, so you're going to have to start to change your mind and be a light and an example, and then the collective consciousness of everyone else changes because it's an effect. They start seeing, well, dang, you are saving all this money, and dang, you looking good because you eating all these good healthy foods coming straight out your garden and all these different things. So that's how you change stuff, not by protesting. Same thing with the Trayvon Martin. If you don't like what they're doing, start by changing your mind and start being that change that you want to see. So you grow your own food, like I said, and you teach others how. And instead of complaining about the breakdown of families and marriages, maintain your own. Be the change. You got these people saying, oh, these women out here ain't no good. These men out here ain't no good. And these kids ain't no good. First and foremost, I want you to stop saying that. Don't let those words exit your mouth anymore. They're all good men. They're all good women. We've all been hurt. We've all been misused, cheated on, lied to. We all have our DNA has been affected by past lives. We're coming in here with this chip on our shoulder sometimes, and we have to work things out. As soon as you start changing your mind about how people are and start knowing that they're inherently good and that negative things have been added and we've been separated from source and different things have occurred, then you will start to change the collective consciousness, and you will start to change the reality and the vibration of this planet. You won't do that by stating what you don't want. You don't want a bad man, do you? You don't want a bad woman, do you? You don't want bad kids, do you? So stop speaking those things. There's life and death in the power of the tongue. That is another biblical principle. Wonderful principles in the Bible, if people would actually apply them. To hear a word is nothing. To do a word is everything. And that's what the Kybalion talks about. You can learn all these principles and axioms, like it was saying in the Kybalion in the introduction, but what good does it do if you don't do them? And that's the same thing Jesus said. He said, I will show you what a man is like who hears these words I say and he does them. He'll be like a man who built his house on a rock. And when the wind came and the storm came, it did not fall. But when the man that hears them and does not do them builds it on sand, the wind comes, the storms come, the house just falls, crumbles. The house is your body, okay? So, your spirit body and your physical body. So, These principles are everywhere. The Bible's not saying anything different than all these other ancient texts. Not by a long shot. It's saying the same thing. So if we want to snuff out, let me go back to reading this. Instead of complaining, like I said, the breakdown of families, tell your children that they're good, because they are good. They're inherently good, okay? Tell the woman, the man you're with, that they are good and that they possess, focus on the positive qualities. Now, there are certain instances where some people are in certain places where you might have to separate and do different things. But if you have the pros and the cons, the pros are outweighing the cons, and you can work some stuff out, please do that. And focus and nourish, especially women, because we are the nurturers naturally, more prone to that. Nurture the good qualities and the good characteristics in a person instead of focusing and dwelling on the negative. And like I said, if it's a dangerous situation, this person is completely imbalanced and beating on you and all, so no, you're going to have to separate from that. But we're talking about people who are mostly pretty good, and they are willing to, on many levels, work on themselves and do some things. That's the kind of people you nurture. Other people, they might have to do a couple more incarnations and work some stuff out, and that's fine too. We still want to love them and send them love and light mentally from the heart. It doesn't have to be physically or with them. But we're not going to think evil of them. That's where forgiveness comes in. So, if your light shines in the darkness vanishes. And that's like that Ephesians 5:11 scripture. You know, people really do not understand. A lot of people don't understand that because they're out here gung-ho. And I understand you're zealous. You have a lot of zeal and you're like, okay, yeah, I'm going to go out here and combat evil. It's not talking about going out here and posting up videos talking about, look at all these hoes. Because I'm telling you, people talk a lot of mess about women and men alike and the government and a lot of different things. Not helping. If you read this Kybalion, I'm telling you, it gives light to the other scriptures, and you can put all these things together and you'll start to see a bigger picture. Because when you are complaining about women and their maybe loose behavior, things that you don't like, you're only adding to the problem. When you post up pictures of women in maybe something that you think is inappropriate, me personally, I have other opinions about certain things. It depends on your intention when you're posting up certain inappropriate things that some people think are inappropriate. It's all intention. When you're posting it up, you're adding to the problem. First of all, nobody would have saw that picture if you hadn't reposted it. Or less people might have saw it. If that person posted it on their Facebook page, well, the only people that would have saw is their Facebook friends. Now, if you posted and want to write a little ugly comment saying, ooh, this woman is loose and she needs to stop doing this and doing that, well, hey, you just added to the problem. That doesn't make any sense. That's crazy. Don't do that. And, you know, the whole men are dogs and all this different stuff, you're just adding to it. Not every man's a dog. Everybody has stuff they need to work on. What we need to do is focus on ourselves, not focus on the exterior and outwardly. We need to focus on us inwardly and what's going on with us instead of always pointing fingers at other people, because there's always something we can do and we can change. And you can't change other people. You can change you. You can affect other people by your vibration, and in turn they will be like, ooh, I want to do what you're doing. That is the way you do it. You don't change them by beating them over the head and berating them and talking down to them and criticizing them. You be that light. And then they will want to change, because change must come from within. It can't come from somebody else making you do something. It'll last for a while. You might change for a while. You might do stuff for a while. But it's only going to be what? To appease the other person. And as soon as that effect kind of wears off, guess what? You're back to doing the same stuff you were doing. So did it last? No. So the only positive change is change that comes from within. Like I said, the GMO companies, hey, if you get enough people out here growing food and they start seeing, well, these people ain't buying this no more. And I'm telling you, a lot of people who are in these companies, they don't know any better. What makes you think that everybody knows better or that they're purposely doing something? These people get jobs and they work at these companies. They get families to take care of. They might not necessarily totally know the effect that they're having. And if you want them to know that, then have a conversation with them. Or show them and be that light and shine it. I promise you, not everybody knows what you know. Not everybody has the knowledge you have. And that's the mistake people make. They think everybody is on the same level they're on, and they want to fight them by being negative, and that's not going to work. So, you know, if you shut down the company, they ain't gonna have no choice but to come to your side and be like, well, hey, we might as well get with y'all because you done shut us down. But it's going to take all of us doing that collectively. It's never going to work if you have these people out here. We're all divided. United we fall, divided we stand, right? So, like I said, eventually, if you shine your light in the darkness, like I was just saying, the darkness will vanish. Eventually, others will see and follow, okay? It is a more efficient way. Love and light conquers all. Eventually, the negativity you don't want will be snuffed out. It is that simple. And this is something that the Kybalion says, or Kybalion says. This principle is known to modern psychologists who apply it to the breaking up of undesirable... You have to shut the door. Shut the door. Okay. Undesirable habits by bidding their students concentrate upon the opposite quality. If you are possessed of fear, do not waste time trying to kill out fear, but instead cultivate the quality of courage, and the fear will disappear. Because you'll be changing the polarity. You go from the fear end to the courage end, and that's where you'll dwell, and the fear will have no effect on you. Some writers have expressed this idea more forcefully by using the illustration of the dark room. You do not have to shovel out or sweep out the darkness, but by merely opening the shutters and letting in the light, the darkness has disappeared. To kill out a negative quality, concentrate upon the positive pole of the same quality, and the vibrations will gradually change from negative to positive, until finally you will become polarized on the positive pole instead of the negative. The reverse is also true, as many have found out to their sorrow. When they have allowed themselves to vibrate too constantly on the negative pole of things. By changing your polarity, you may master your moods, change your mental states, remake your disposition, and build up character. And this is kind of also stated in Matthew 5:13, which says, you are the salt of the earth, but if salt has lost its taste, how shall its saltiness be restored? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled under people's feet. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others so that they may see your good works and give glory to your ancestors who are in heaven. Okay? So, on higher places. So, and I say ancestors because the word father, please look that up. Pater means ancestors, means male or female, not the masculine gender. Look it up. I'm not making this stuff up. And heaven is a higher place, a higher plane or higher realm. And they're all looking down on us like, okay, let's get this together. And they are essentially you. Just all FYIs. So, like I said we're going to make this long. But I'm sorry, when I get to teaching, it just happens. I have to just let it all flow out. So, with that said, I hope that helps. I hope that we can apply it. Please go to the site, Kybalion, Kybalion. You can type it in Google and you'll find a link to it. And study it. And not only study it, apply it. And I dare you to tell me it doesn't work. And you have to believe it works, and you have to master it. So it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to just poof happen. It can, because I've had plenty of things happen overnight where I've changed my mind frame, my intention, and I focused in meditations and things like that, and things did change overnight. But as of now, I don't have these problems with people bothering me and different things, and I can go into any situation and be like, well, you know, you're coming to me with negativity, I'm about to change that. Alchemy. True alchemy is mental. We're not talking about creating no gold, getting rich. Because true riches and true wealth are all things that are within. Things that are stored up where? In heaven, okay? In higher places. So you can take these things and use them here and create here. But you have to understand how the laws work, and you have to apply them and master them by believing them and by applying them and doing them. Not just reading them and saying, oh, it sounds wonderful. And I'm going to post a couple of these on my Facebook page or my Twitter or whatever. That's not going to help. You must apply. And you're going to be going against the grain most of the time with what your physical body wants to do, because these are different laws. But in order for you to ascend, you're going to have to start thinking from a higher plane and applying it on this plane. And it's going to feel weird because, like the Bible says, the flesh wars against the spirit. They are oppositional, okay? This is a whole nother level, a whole nother playing field. And when you try to go up to another playing field to actually affect this playing field, you're going to have some heads kind of button. It's going to be some things that are going to be like, ooh, I don't want to do that. Doesn't feel comfortable. Well, you have to fight through that. You have to transcend that, okay? So, let us be the change. My new declaration is I am the change I want to see in the world. I am the peace, the love, the harmony, the joy, the good mother, the good woman, the good everything, the good citizen, the light bringer, the light bearer, the light worker, all that. I am that. I am fair, balanced, and just, and everyone else around me is. So be it. So it is. Period. That's it. Because I think so. And now I can transcend this reality and what everyone else is, the collective consciousness, which has become a majority negative. And you start to change it. Each and every person on this planet starts to do that. One takes one person, ripples out, and then you affect another and another and another and another, and then we have this shift back into positivity. So don't try to escape this reality. And I know I keep saying that in a lot of videos because I see it. I'm sitting here looking. You're trying to escape. Oh, we're going to go out here and sun gaze. There's nothing wrong with that. I do it too. I sit in the sun, I sun gaze, I meditate. I do a whole lot of stuff that you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised at what I do. But I also know that I am multidimensional. I'm not just that spirit being. I'm not just trying to get there. I'm trying to master this plane so I can master other planes. And the only way I can master the other planes is to master this plane. So you're not going to escape this plane the way I think most people are thinking. You're actually going to have to master this. And that's what's been given to me. And then when I start reading things and my spirit guides bring me these other understandings in written form, I'm like, dang, okay, now I see exactly what you're saying. You know, now I've got it in the spirit. That's where you should get stuff primarily from the spirit. Then you get it from the physical realm. And that's another witness. And it's in nature, and then it's written in a book, and that's fine because these archetypes are reincarnated and kept writing these things, and that's where you get all these different cultures from, and these different because the cultures and the different races are actually representative of evolutionary processes. But I'll talk about that in another video. You know, the different cultures are different levels. It's very interesting. So with that, lots of love, peace, and light. One infinite love to everyone. I really encourage you, if you are looking to affect change on a permanent and more powerful basis, to study these principles of Kybalion and apply them. Just take one and like read it and really meditate on it. I've written cards. I charge my water with the card. I write it in purple ink and put it on top of my water, and that I speak my intentions into, and then drink the water. These are all tools and things to raise your vibration. That's all they are, tools. And then eventually, once you've mastered these tools, then you become what these tools are trying to teach you, and you change your consciousness and your DNA and kind of the things that are going on with you, because it's a fight, and you do need tools, weapons, or different things to assist you to raise your consciousness and raise the way you're thinking. So there's nothing wrong with using tools. I'll do another video on that. You know, people talking about stuff like this, like the tarot. Oh my gosh, this is nothing but a bunch of archetypes. Playing cards, this right here, that's where playing cards came from, and people don't realize it. There are ways that the higher consciousness or whatever keeps these things in the world and keeps them circulating and keeps them from being snuffed out, just so you know. So these are just tools. Yes, they're called tools of divination. When we talk about it in the Bible, I'm only going to talk about it like 2 seconds. Talk about tools of divination and talk about you not using them. That is for a high level of consciousness. Okay? Once you become the one that divines down to others, you don't need this. But I'm telling you, Most people are not there. I'm not even there. I still need assistance, and I am humble enough to realize that I am still on this physical plane, and I'm still in amnesia about things that I once knew, and still remembering things, putting back together. So I come up under the counsel of my master, which is the same thing as a Lord, which would be the same thing as the ancestors, and they are guiding you. And people who think they're already there and they're out here doing this stuff on their own, no, you're not. You got people out here who are helping you and assisting you, whether you acknowledge them or not. The trees might be helping you to an extent. They probably help you more if you would acknowledge them for what they are. The animals, all kind of different things. So, just so you know, this is a good book because it has the Hebrew, and actually it came with a deck of tarot cards, and they're based off of Mandela's, and then the Hebrew letters, which I found I resonate with those. I resonate with everything pretty much, but that's kind of what I started off studying, so I roll with that. And I got like a pretty good knowledge base of Hebrew and stuff like that, so that's what I gravitate towards. So that said, I'm sorry it went too long. I don't know why I keep saying it's never too long. This is all knowledge, and I hope you got something out of this. Please, 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 please do more self-work. The only way we're going to affect change in the world is to change self. When you change self, everything else automatically starts changing. You cannot change other people. And you can't escape other people either. You're going to have to work on yourself, and that vibration is going to permeate and go out there, and then you're going to start attracting and drawing other people to you, and they're like, ooh, what are you doing? I want to do that. That's what you want. That's what you need. That's what the planet needs. That's what Mother Earth needs. That's what the collective consciousness needs, period. So with that, peace and blessings, lots of love, light, and one infinite love. Peace.